The first time Taehyung saw Professor Jung, he almost dropped his notebook. It wasn't fair, really. Professors were supposed to be balding, tired men with coffee stains on their sleeves. Not this. Not Jungkook with his rolled-up dress shirt, veins visible down his forearms, wire-rimmed glasses perched on his nose as he wrote clean, elegant equations across the chalkboard. The lecture hall was buzzing with whispers, but Jungkook didn't seem to notice. He didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. Somehow, his presence commanded attention, quiet but absolute. Your midterm will not be easy, Jungkook said matter-of-factly. But I don't believe in impossible. Taehyung scribbled the words down even though they weren't part of the syllabus. Weeks passed. Taehyung sat in the third row, always, not close enough to be obvious, not far enough to be invisible. He took notes, asked questions, and tried desperately to ignore the way Jungkook's gaze sometimes lingered on him a second too long. It was probably his imagination. Professors didn't look at students like that, but one night, when the campus library was nearly empty, Taehyung found Jungkook there. He loosened, hair falling into his eyes, surrounded by stacks of books. "You're here late," Taehyung said before he could stop himself. Jungkook looked up, startled. Then, to Taehyung's shock, he smiled faintly. "So are you." "I like the quiet," Taehyung admitted. Jungkook nodded. "Me too." The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was charged, like something unsaid hovered between them. Study sessions began accidentally. Taehyung would stay behind after class with questions. Jungkook would answer, patient and thorough. Eventually, those answers turned into conversations about music, about books, about how Jungkook hated coffee but drank it anyway. One evening, Taehyung's pen slipped from his hand, rolling under Jungkook's desk. When they both bent to grab it, their hands brushed. The contact was fleeting, innocent. But Taehyung's heart thudded like a drum. He looked up. Jungkook was already staring, lips parted, as if he wanted to say something but thought better of it. They didn't speak of it. But the air between them shifted. The tipping point came the night before finals. The classroom was empty except for the two of them. Papers spread across desks. Taehyung was exhausted, words blurring together, when Jungkook finally said, "You push yourself too hard." Taehyung looked up, startled. "I want to do well." "You already are." Jungkook's voice was gentle, softer than Taehyung had ever heard it. "You are remarkable, Taehyung." Taehyung's breath caught. No professor said things like that. Jungkook seemed to realize it too late. He pushed back his chair abruptly, pacing toward the window. "This isn't right," White Taehyung asked, standing now too. His voice shook, but his chest burned with something fierce. "Because you're my professor? Because there's a rule book that says you can't care?" "It's more than care," Jungkook snapped, then froze. The words hung between them, heavy and undeniable. Taehyung stepped closer, pulse racing. "Then don't pretend it isn't." Jungkook turned, eyes dark, conflict written all over his face. For a long moment he said nothing. Then, as though the restraint finally broke, he reached for Taehyung, hands on his face, mouth crashing against his. The kiss was fire and desperation, years of restraint shattered in an instant. Taehyung clung to him, heart soaring, as if this was what he had been waiting for all semester, maybe his whole life. When they broke apart, Jungkook rested his forehead against Taehyung's, voice trembling. "This could ruin me." Taehyung smiled faintly, brushing a thumb over his cheek. "Then let's keep it ours. Just for us." And in the quiet of the empty classroom, with chalk dust still clinging to the air, Jungkook kissed him again, this time slower, certain, like a promise.